College made the plays that they needed to make, especially down the stretch in the second half. I thought they won the margins. They got the loose balls. They got the extra shots. And, they fought harder than us, which, I don't like to say that, but that's just the facts. I thought we let our offense impact our defense. They scored 81 points. We haven't given that up on the road in a while. But our level wasn't there. Our attention to detail was not there. We didn't finish the game the way we needed to finish the game. It's going to be close games like this all year, and we have to be able to come through and get those done and finish those. And we didn't do the job tonight. Unfortunately, we didn't do the job tonight. We've been in some. We've come out on the other end. Tonight, we did not come out on the other end, but I'm going to give credit to Boston College. They made the toughness plays. They made the plays that they needed to make to win the game, and we didn't.
Coach? Adrian, you had two guys at 14 turnovers. I think you had 18 altogether. How big did that impact the game today?
That's the game. Those two guys, handle the ball the most. You can't win and beat anybody with 18 turnovers, right? Like 18 turnovers and the turnovers that led to points. And I thought that was the difference. The turnovers that we had, we just can't make those. We're better than that. We have to we got to take care of the ball. 18 turnovers is insane, right? Like you can't do it. Can't do it. And they were live ball turnovers. So we got to work on that and get better at that.
Coach, going with the turnovers in George at 7, at least 4 in his last 4 games. Just what is it about his game that you think is kind of struggling right now?
I think it's a concerted effort. I think a lot of it is, we want to try to move the ball and get the ball back into his hands, and different guys touch it, and other guys are responsible for getting open. Right? We didn't get open at the end. We stood. We kind of, it was difficult for us to get into some type of rhythm. And we have to be able to do that. And we didn't do a good job of that. They denied us, and we talked about that coming out. They cannot, stop us from where we want to move the ball to, and they did that. We didn't work hard enough. So some of that is his teammates working hard enough, and some of it is he has to make better decisions.
It seemed like when you started to make your early lineup changes, things went flat. Can you talk about the early moments of the middle of the first half there when you had to put some subs in and you didn't get anything from them?
Yeah, that was, we started off and we made the subs, and again we stalled, but that happens in a game. We got to defend and we got to keep fighting, and I thought they did that in the first half. I didn't think that was the issue. Again, no one can play 40 minutes the way we're trying to play. So, and this team is good. And this team is going to be good, and it is good because of our depth. And I'm not going to stop playing guys. All right, we just got to do a better job. We got to get better at what we're doing. All right. Again, sometimes that happens. That it just happens. That happens. But we got to do a better job of trying to make that not happen with our defense. And I just think our defensive focus is not where it needs to be, and it hasn't been in the last probably 2 or 3 games.
Coach, you're now 2-2 in quad 3 games. Just how frustrating is that?
I think it's frustrating. Again, I know everyone is caught up in quad 1, quad 2. I'm caught up in wins and losses and how my team is playing and how we get better. So, again, it's very frustrating to lose a game, right? It's in quad 2, quad 3. We lost the game. We're in conference play right now. And, if anyone, you follow this conference, Boston College, they've been playing well. They just didn't finish some of the games at the end. They've been in games like this. And today we allowed them to get back in the game and to finish the game. We didn't do what we were supposed to do. But it's very frustrating to lose any game, whether it's a quad 10 game or 4 game or whatever it is. I don't like losing. Losing is not fun.
Coach, this had a feel of an old school Big East matchup. How'd you like the intensity from both teams?
It was a hard play game. I just think we didn't do what we were supposed to. So that's the frustrating part. Again, I give credit to Boston College. They fought. And they got after it. And again, not to say that our guys didn't, but it's certain plays, certain times where you got to come up with it, right? We get a miss, we got to get the rebound. They get the rebound and score. And that's how it typically happens. I just thought they out-hustled us, especially late in the game.
Going back to the lineups and especially the bench, they outscored to 20-2 from bench. I know sometimes contributions isn't always about offense, but what do you want to see from your bench guys?
I wanted them to come in with the same intensity, Sharing the basketball, moving the basketball on the offensive end, defending and rebounding, what I expect from my starters, because any of these guys could possibly start on this team. So we treat them like starters. So the expectation is for every player to play at a level 5 defensively, communicate defensively, look out for each other, help each other, play together, share the basketball. No different than what I ask, the 5 guys that begin the game.
Coach, there's obviously a lot of big opportunities in the future. What is it about this coaching staff and this team that you think can help us win behind them?
We have to. What are you going to do? You have to, right? We got a lot of great opportunities, right? And that's the thing that I told our guys in there. We're disappointed in this loss, but this season, it's a lot of season left, and we have a lot of great opportunities ahead of us, right? And the one thing I do know is at the end of the season, the only way you can try to do what you want to do is win games, right? And this year, we're very fortunate that our conference is very strong, all right? And so we got a chance to go out and win some games.
What gives you confidence that your team can go out and win those big games?
Because we've won more than we've lost. I believe in this group. We've had some big games. We've competed against teams of in bigger conferences. So I got nothing but belief in this team. All right, and like I told these guys, it's a whole season, and sometimes we don't always play well. Right? How do we scrape out those wins? And we scraped out a couple. All right. Today we fell short. All right. Talent isn't enough. Right? Talent is enough. And then sometimes you just don't learn when you're winning. We're dealing with young men, 21, 22. Again, it's not. You don't want to lose games. But we got to wake up and get back to how we were playing defensively, and I'm confident that if we do that, we'll be fine.
Go over here.
Fred Payne played almost every single minute for BC at 26 points. What made him so hard to stop?
Obviously he made 4 threes, but he's a relentless guy. They moved, and I thought they did a really good job of getting him the ball once he caught rhythm and caught fire. They got him the ball in the right spots, and and he made the plays.
Got time for one more.
Coach, Nate King's 27 today. He was, despite the loss, phenomenal. Can you talk about his performance?
Nate, he's an everyday guy. We get a lot of questions on, is he this, is he that, this, that. Nate's an everyday guy, and like I told people before, I don't worry about Nate Kings. He puts the work in. He's a grinder. He's a throwback. He gives you 100% every time he steps up on the court, and he's one of the better shooters in the country. I thought today, people got a chance to see that, but I don't worry about Nate. I worry about this team, and we all have to get to that level 5 intensity, and we all got to get on the same page clicking, and we've done it. Again, I'm not going to say all is lost because we dropped one today, but we just got to be a little bit more consistent. I've said it the last 2 games that our defense and our focus wasn't where it needed to be, and and I've been talking to the team about that, and so we got to continue to push forward and get that back.
Thanks, Coach.
Thank you.